Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, details on a White House executive order imposing a $100,000 fee for visas granted to skilled foreign workers. Also tonight, we'll hear about an effort to show the challenges facing those who can't or don't drive. And a look at the perks and benefits one can have with a library card. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. President Trump last week issued an executive order that calls for a $100,000 fee for visas granted to skilled foreign workers. In doing so, the White House claimed that employers are using the H-1B visa program to replace American workers with cheaper foreign employees. Joining us now to discuss the impact of the order is immigration attorney Elizabeth Chatham. Elizabeth, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So this adds a $100,000 fee for skilled foreign worker visas. What's a skilled foreign worker as opposed to a non-skilled foreign worker?
Well, the H-1B visa is meant for people with bachelor's degrees or higher. So it would be jobs that typically entry level would require some sort of specialized theoretical knowledge. And so you see a lot of foreign graduates that go to our American universities, and then they transition from a student visa usually to an H-1B visa.
Interesting. Okay, so this $100,000 fee, who pays it?
I know, it's a big amount of money. It's unclear. Most attorneys do think that it's going to be an expectation that an employer pays, but it's possible that there might be a mechanism for the employee to pay. But the $100,000 fee is very narrow in scope. The fee is only going to be triggered if someone is physically outside of the United States, that H-1B was submitted after November 21st of 2025. And that person does not have a valid H-1B visa or approval notice. So it's really meant for people who are outside of the United States.
Which means, I would imagine, a lot of employers are telling their employees, get back to the U.S. as soon as possible.
Yes, there was quite a bit of confusion this weekend on what to do with people who are already abroad. So the White House did clarify, along with Customs and Border and the State Department, that this particular proclamation is prospective. So if anybody had previously had an approved H-1B, they are not impacted. They're not going to trigger the $100,000 fee.
Interesting. Is it a one-time fee?
Correct. It's one time. It's not going to be every year as previously reported, and it would be required and documented in order for that person to re-enter the United States.
Okay, so the focus here is, again, hard to find high-skilled jobs. The White House says that the program, though, is deliberately exploiting all of this. They call it the most abused visa program. Do they have a point?
I do. I do think that there is abuse of the H-1B program. It's nothing new. It's been going on for quite some time. The reason I think there's an abuse of the program is because the number of available visas are very limited. They're limited to a total of 85,000. And there's a greater demand. Usually there's 300, 400, 500,000 applicants competing for those 85,000. So there is going to be ways that people are trying to game the system. So the complaint that the administration has is that because there's only 85,000, there's a large number that's being absorbed by very few companies. Many of the companies that they're talking about are in the IT sector. And sometimes the IT sector has staffing companies, so large staffing companies that will find labor from abroad, and then they'll bring those people over to the U.S. But they're not just applying for 5, 10, 25 visas. They're applying for hundreds or even maybe thousands of visas. And so the abuse is that they might get a small percentage of those applications in the lottery, but then Are they being assigned to U.S. employers? Are they doing those tasks that were stated in the application? Are they here for the right amount of time? Are they overstaying? So there's a preference that this administration has that says, well, American businesses should try to fill those open spots with American workers, especially if they're entry-level roles.
Are they not filling those spots with American workers because you can get, as the White House claims, cheaper workers overseas, and they are basically replacing American employees?
That is not supposed to happen under this program because you have a prevailing wage requirement from the Department of Labor, and they're supposed to pay those wages. If they're paying less than that, then there is a disconnect, and they're probably not in compliance.
So when the White House says that basically this will cost so much, these companies will have to pay so much, it'll be cheaper, more affordable, just go ahead and train American workers. Again, do they have a point?
That's what they're trying to ensure. But because of the way that this particular proclamation is written, it's very broad. So it's going to affect small employers, maybe even public schools or charter schools that can't afford to pay a $100,000 fee. So now there's going to be exemptions for certain employers to qualify in order not to pay that $100,000 fee.
Wow. The H-1B program, again, the claims are that this program suppresses wages. What do you think?
You know, that's a tough one because, you know, I can see that there's this delicate dance that employers have to kind of examine. So they want to pay proper wages that the Department of Labor says is appropriate. But at the same time, there's business-related factors that also kind of affect what an employer can pay. So we always tell employers up front, before we even file a case, these are the wages, can you pay them? And if you can't, then don't sponsor.
Interesting. So again, I'm trying to get all these claims in order. There's so many claims here as far as the executive order was concerned. Another claim was that basically the H-1B program was designed to fill shortages. It is not doing that anymore.
I agree with that. It's the H-1B program's been around since, you know, the early 80s, and it has not been revamped. So what our economy needed in the 80s is very, very different than what our economy and businesses need now. We need a much more long-term, bigger, broader, totally different visa that allows for employers to utilize skilled labor or increase the number from 85,000 to something that's more appropriate.
Well, that all sounds like it takes, you know, time, it takes policy and thinking this, whereas a $100,000 fee just seems a little bit like an elephant gun here.
Yes, yes. So so what I think the program needs is a change. It's congressional action that is really necessary to revamp the program. The $100,000 fee is really serving as a deterrent.
Yeah.
It's trying to make sure that there is not, the first strategy should not be let's go find foreign labor. The first strategy that the Trump administration is encouraging is to find local US-based talent.
And all this said, I would imagine a legal challenge is coming. If it hasn't come already, it's happening soon. You think a temporary restraining order will happen?
There's a number of lawsuits that are being planned to file this week. I think that there might be a really good success story because in these claims, these are broad, arbitrary, and capricious sort of applications. And if there is really a concern of IT companies abusing the program, then those companies should be the ones that are paying this $100,000 fee.
Last question. It has been noted that most of the immigrants with the H-1B program are from the country of India, and the president right now is having his problems with the country of India. Mm-hmm. Is that a factor here at all?
I think that there's some complications with, you know, foreign talent, especially from certain countries that are, you know, predominantly in sectors. And you know, I think that there is perhaps a preference to figure out a way that this could be more evenly distributed, where the H-1B and other visa programs are available to to everyone, and they are legally. Anyone from any country, as long as they qualify,
Right.
is available for the H-1B. But there is definitely a larger percentage of Chinese and Indian nationals that use the H-1B program.
Interesting stuff. Elizabeth Chatham, again, a partner with Sinton LLP, and helping us with yet another immigration story. My goodness, good to
Yes.
see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you.
This is making me emotional.
On Finding Your Roots, Mario Lopez
Man, I'm just blessed to be born when I was.
and Melissa Villaseñor.
I'm Basque, baby. I want to shout it from the mountaintops.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Drawing on a decade of reporting, NPR correspondent Laura Sullivan investigates America's continuing vulnerability.
What makes you think a storm like this won't happen again?
There's no guarantee a storm like this won't happen again, but I think everything is a risk.
Tuesday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
Tired, weak, underfed. Things could turn for the worse quite quickly.
Oh, there's a leopard.
Bobby, he's right behind you. Move.
No.
Oh, wow.
Wednesday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, President Trump and Secretary Kennedy tied Tylenol to autism, despite questionable evidence. That's at 6 on Arizona PBS.
Next week marks day one of a week-long effort to get people who can drive or afford a car to experience what life is like without personal transportation. The effort is called A Week Without Driving, and we learn more from Ed Hermes. He's chairman of the Vision Zero Street Safety Committee, which is behind the product. Ed, good to see you again.
Thanks, Ted. Appreciate it.
How'd you get here? Your bike over here?
I did bike over here. Yes, I did.
So you live your life without driving half the time.
I do live my life without driving. I want to see what it's like on the streets so I can try to make the city better.
All right, so Week Without Driving. Give us a better explanation of what's going on here, why it's going on.
Well, about a third of people in this country do not have access to a car. Maybe they're older, younger, disabled, can't afford gas, can't afford a car, and they rely on public transit, walking, biking throughout the United States. And this is an effort, it's a national effort. And here in Arizona, we're taking part in that to try to get people who do have access to a car, who have that privilege, to eschew the car for a week, see what it's like to walk almost literally in their shoes, to see where the barriers are of how we can make our community a little safer, a little bit more connected to the benefit of those who can't afford a car.
September 29th to October 5th, was that week chosen in particular, or is that the national week?
That's the national week. It started in Washington by the Disability Rights Center, and it has grown from America Walks as an organization that launches it nationally. You can check out more at americawalks.org, and that's the national week that we're partaking in here in Arizona.
So people with disabilities, young drivers, seniors, those who can't afford or just simply don't want to drive cars, we're all supposed to kind of remember that they're out there, huh?
They're out there. We have 40,000 families here in Phoenix that do not have access to a vehicle. And they have there's unique challenges, as you can imagine, in this city. And we need to make it safer, make it easier, frankly, for everybody to get around, whether you can afford a car, whether you have access to a car or not.
What are the challenges? What are the barriers?
Safety is a big one. We know here in the city of Phoenix, we have the #1 amount of car crashes, #1 amount of deadly car crashes of any major city in the United States. We have about 300 a year. Even more, many more than that, people getting seriously injured. Safety is a big one. Access to quality and reliable public transit is another one. But we want people to get out next week during a week without driving, document their own challenges that you have. So if you're trying to get down here to work, how was it? What was it like? What have you seen that you could make it a little easier to get to where you need to go?
I was going to ask you, how does this work? Do you keep a diary? You mentioned document. Is there a place to go to fill things out?
Yeah, you can share your story at americawalks.org. And the local group here is called Phoenix Urban Project. You can go to their website as well. Share your stories, share them on social media. There's a place on the website to do that. And also to take that next step to advocate to your state, federal, and local public officials to say, hey, I was trying to take the bus to work. It wasn't working very well, or I wanted to come more often, or the sidewalk ended in my neighborhood. Why is that? Start asking those questions and start advocating for those changes to make it easier.
And this is all transportation, 24/7. I mean, what about late at night? I get a little nervous getting on public transportation late at night.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so the light rail used to run till 2 a.m. It doesn't anymore. And so if you work late, that's another issue. It's another difficulty. We know for people who are going to have challenges doing this, right? So if there's just a moment during the week where you just can't get to where you need to go without calling an Uber or getting in your car, document that as well to say, look, it was midnight, I needed to get somewhere, nothing was running. Document that as well and share those stories.
You mentioned calling an Uber. What about paying for rides? What about asking for someone to drive you somewhere? Does that count as not driving?
Yeah, asking for somebody to give you a ride, that does count. That's a piece of this. As long as you're changing your behavior to walk in the shoes of somebody who can't afford or doesn't have access to a car, that works. So talking to a neighbor, carpooling, that absolutely works. And again, if you just can't get to somewhere, don't consider yourself a failure. Document that and let's try to fix it.
The goal is to reflect on what these other folks are dealing with.
Exactly. Reflect, experience it, reflect. If it's hot, if it's uncomfortable, reflect on that and how can we make it better? Is it more shade at the bus stop? Is it buses running more quickly? Reflect on that and bring those stories to people in power who can change those.
How long has this been going on?
This has been going on since 2021, started in the state of Washington with the Disability Rights Center, and it's continuing, it's growing every year. This is going to be our biggest year doing it in Arizona, and we want to continue to grow it every year.
And last question, I wanted to ask you about that. What has the response been so far in previous years?
You know, it's been small. It started as a little kernel here in Phoenix. Nationwide, it's grown a lot more quickly. Here in Arizona, last year we did it. It was very small, to be honest. This year we're trying to get it much bigger and to grow it every single year so we can try to make those changes in our community.
Where to learn more?
Learn more at urbanphoenixproject.org as well as americawalks.org. You can sign up, get some resources, learn more about it, and also share your stories and document those stories.
Ed Hermes again, Vision Zero Street Safety Commission on Week Without Driving. Oh boy.
I hope you join us, Ted, next week.
Okay, you watch out for me now.
I will do.
Good to see you.
Thanks, Ted. Appreciate it.
September is National Library Card Month, and the Phoenix Public Library is taking the opportunity to showcase the perks and benefits of what comes with owning a library card. We sat down with Lee Franklin, Community Relations Director at the Phoenix Public Library, for more on all the things that can be accessed with one of the library's cards. Lee Franklin, thank you so much for joining.
You're
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. You know I love coming.
Yes, and September, we have you here because
Yeah.
September is National Library Card Month. I thought that every month was National Library Card.
You know that I feel that every day is National Get Your Library Card Day. But for sure, the month of September is the National Sign Up for Your Library Card Month. And Phoenix Public Library, every year we do our amazing library card campaign. For sure in September, often into October.
And the idea is just to show what a library card can do for you.
Right, how amazing it is. We want people to start with us. You have an idea, want to explore it, need to make a decision, looking for something to do, get your library card, start with us.
So what does a library card do? When they start with you, where do they go from there?
Well, come on, you first visit our website, phoenixpubliclibrary.org. So from the comfort of your home, in the middle of the night, you can get started with getting your e-card. And yeah, fill out some information. It verifies that you're a resident of Maricopa County. So our cards are free for Maricopa County residents. And within a few minutes, you'll have access to literally thousands of items to read. You can stream music, you can stream movies, you can have access to newspapers from around the world.
Yeah,
all kinds. You can do classes online, all kinds of stuff.
So books, audiobooks, DVDs, these are the kinds of things that are expected at a library. But has that changed over the, are traditional books, are they just kind of sitting around going, hey, we're over here?
Oh, absolutely not. No. Yeah, people are still there. Our collection is moving towards being larger as the e portion of it, because there is a lot more option that way, but also high demand. But we still see that our physical books, the traditional, come in, take something off the shelf. People still want that experience as well, and so they are equally as popular.
Okay.
And they are not going away. We want to assure everybody we are not getting out of the business of actual physical books.
Library cards themselves, are they transferable?
Not in Maricopa County, not at this time, not right now. I don't know that, but anybody who's a resident of Maricopa County can get a library card at almost any of the public libraries within the county. So you don't have to live in Scottsdale to get they might have different rules, but like for Phoenix, you just have to be a resident of Maricopa County and you can get a Phoenix Public Library card, and you can get more than one. If you want something from another library, or you want something that we might not have, we do have an interlibrary loan program where we will borrow on your behalf from another library system.
You've also got something called a Culture Pass. What is that?
So Culture Passes are a partnership that we have with Act One, and those with the Phoenix Public Library card, and all the libraries in the county offer this program, can go in and check out admission to cultural and art institutions throughout the state of Arizona.
So free entrance to museums and things?
Yes, two free admissions. So maybe you can't get a whole family of 4 or 5 in, but can definitely go towards making that admission more affordable by having 2 free admissions.
And also places like Arcosanti, Desert Sonora Museum, Lowell Observatory.
And we rely on Act One. That's the organization that makes those arrangements with those organizations. So at different times we have, some of them come on the list, some of them come off the list, depending on what their seasons are like and what they're doing. So check phoenixpubliclibrary.org. We have a Culture Pass page, and you can see what we're currently offering and then which of our libraries have them available, because there is a limited supply. So,
I was going to say, did you acquire them online? Do you have to go in? Do you check out?
That is one thing where you do need to come in and then find the applicable pass to, say, Arcosanti, take that up to the desk, and then staff will help. They will give you a receipt that you can use for entry.
And it sounds like it's a first come, first serve kind of thing.
It is, and they're they're a hot commodity sometimes. So check our website, and you can see which of our 17 locations have them in at any given time. So before you travel.
How long has that been around? Has it been around a while?
Oh yeah, we've been a partner with Act One for over 10 years.
Oh my goodness.
Offering this. And during performance season, we will have tickets to specific performances, like with the Phoenix Opera, and when they have their performance season.
Yeah. Last question here. We talked about, the books aren't being neglected here. What is the most popular part of Phoenix libraries?
Oh, I would say One that we want two things. One is that we literally have something for everyone. So we are a place that is for everyone. And what we're hearing a lot of is how much people appreciate our spaces. They love that they can come to a library. Anybody can come in. They know they're going to be accepted, that it's a place where they can just be. We're one of those last parts of our society or community where you don't have to spend money. You really can come in, spend the time, just spend the day with us, sitting in a comfy chair in a corner reading something, or using our Wi-Fi, or getting on a public computer, or talking with, it's a community connection.
Yeah.
And we're finding that is really the heart of what people find so beloved about the library. And then we help solve whatever it is that you're facing.
But you got to be kind of quiet still, don't you? Don't you have to kind of keep it low?
Absolutely not. I know I have a loud booming voice, although I'm a little raspy today, but no, libraries are not necessarily a shushing space any longer. We have different spaces that are designated for those that are therefore quiet, but they can be a little raucous and quite adventurous, and people having a lot of fun.
It's a brave new world of the library, isn't it?
Yeah, literally start with us. An idea you have, need to make a decision, looking for something to do, and we're free.
All right, Lee Franklin, Phoenix Public Library, it's on National Library Card Month.
It's every day, really, but yes, for sure, take advantage. Come see us in September.
All right, good to see you again.
Good to see you, thank you.
And that is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.